Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, everybody out there in the YouTube world. I know this is early for me, right? I normally don't go live this early in the morning, but I wanted to do that because I wanted to talk about the second part of the Reconstruction of America. And bear with me, I am on my way to Texas. I'm on my way to Texas right now with Phil from the Advice Show. Phil is having a major event. He's going to have Dr. Mumbe, and I'm going to be there. I'm having dinner with Phil tonight, so shout out to Phil from the Advice Show. Make sure that you guys follow him. We're going to see how this goes. Phil is having his first event, and we are so grateful to be part of it in Houston, Texas. So I'm currently at LAX right now. We're getting ready to get on a plane to be going to Texas. I want to continue to talk about the fate and the Reconstruction of America, because I know I started it and I didn't have much time to finish it. For those who were following me who didn't hear that portion, I talked about where we are as a country, and let me kind of reiterate it. So for those who don't know what I mean by that, as you know, we have a major issue with immigration and visas and green cards in our country, and we're saturated. And a lot of that has to do with legislation that have allowed many people to come into this country freely and irresponsibly. We have many people who have visas who are expired, people who are here who are immigrants, who have taken advantage, who are voting illegally, and no one tends to regulate these people. And in the meantime, we're becoming more and more saturated with people who are taking advantage of the infrastructure of this country. And the infrastructure of this country is becoming displaced. And as an African American person in this country, we should all have concerns with that, because now what you're having is this chain migration of people that are filtrating and coming over here, bringing their cousin, their uncle, whoever they bring over here, creating a tree effect of lines. And what do I mean by that? For example, they are now taking advantage of the capitalist system that's in place, because that's how this country's ran. It's not a socialist country. It is a state and a country ran on capitalism. And now you're finding is that the immigrants come and they do a chain migration into avenues of businesses. If you go to the Vietnamese community, they are very heavily into the nails. If you go to the Filipino community, they are very, very heavily into nursing. A lot of the doctors, we don't have any American doctors anymore. If we think about people from India, they own a lot of the hotels. Think about the gas stations. A lot of the people who are at gas stations are people from Saudi Arabia and all these other countries. And what you're finding is that when they're here, they bring their family members, and then they begin to migrate and they stay in that arena. Now, what does that mean? That means the rest of us are getting blocked out. The opportunities that would normally go to the American people, American families of all ethnic background, black and white, are being blocked out because we can't get in those industries because they dominate them. For example, for the hair industry, the Koreans are the ones that control the distribution and the alignments of other countries with import-export with hair, to the point that they would take brochures and they would use black faces for the brochures, but they won't put it in English because they want to block that opportunities from you. And this is the problem that we're having, and that we as individuals are identifying that it is not making America better by having all these people being able to take advantage of the infrastructure that we have, because those rights are being dismantled and taken away from us. In the meantime, we are down to 6% blacks in Southern California because the immigrants and illegal immigrants, and them taking advantage of the infrastructure of driver's license. That's right, driver's license, and saying that they can vote and act as if they're us. I call them the invasion of the body snatchers. They are snatching us out of our physical well-being, and they are replacing us. Oh, you can hear me? Oh, thank you, Kevin. Can you hear me? I'm going to try to talk a little louder. I know, the airport is so much fun. Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm at LAX and I'm heading out to Texas to be with Phil from the Advice Show. So if you have any questions, feel free to chime in and give this in the chime in part. Extermination, 6%, that's what we're down to in California. We have issues with the gang members. We have issues of health and sanitation. Now, for those who might not know, but Tijuana is backed up like crazy right now because the immigrants that have came into Tijuana have brought in a lot of diseases, and the caravan is turning back, but Tijuana is still backed up with a lot of sick people, and those sick people are not vaccinated, and they're trying to come into California, and that's an issue. And when they come in, they come into the urban black communities, and they come into our communities. Look, for those who may not understand this administration or support immigration, I want you to wake up to the fact that Americans who are here should come first, and that those people who are coming from their country should go back and they should fight for their native land. They should fight for their people. They should fight for their rights. They should fight for a better infrastructure in their country, but they're not doing that. So when you hear presidents say they bring their weak, their poor, and their ill-mannered people, he's telling the truth. Because these same people are looking for a free ride. We cannot continue to have a free ride in this country. Put the thumbs up. You got to support me on that. We can't have free rides in this country, because if we do that, then the rest of us will suffer. Right now, hold on.
Boarding flight 344 with destination to Provo, Utah. We welcome all passengers, all zones, to gate 51.
So I'm at LAX right now, heading to Houston. Dr. Mumbe will be there. We're going to be talking to a lot of the Pan-African people, and we'll be trying to find common ground for African Americans with Africans. And I'm very excited because this is Phil's. Hold on a second.
All ticket and confirmed customers, please proceed to gate 55.
So I'm flying on Spirit, and they don't give you anything free, so they're going to talk more than normal other areas. But I wanted to say this to you. Look, in order to bring a solidarity and an understanding of who and where we are, hey, way too real, thank you for chiming in, I appreciate that, of who we are, where we're going as a people, we have to understand the issues of where we are as Americans and how other country people who come here want to use us as body snatchers. They just snatch you out and put them in there. Look, I give you an example. Like I said before, if you had a lady's place called Karen's Kitchen, right? Everybody go to Karen Kitchen's breakfast. Everybody loves it. Well, Karen realized her community's changing. She sells it to Robert Lopez, and he comes over and he takes over. Now Karen's gone, and Karen's Kitchen's recipes might be still there, but they're twisted with tamales and avocados and all this other stuff. So, hold on one second. We are being snatched. We are being taken advantage of. We are the ones that are suffering in this country. God bless you. I see a lion out there. Hey, lion, how you doing? Shalom to you as well. You know, we're the ones that are going to lose in this. If we don't wake up and stop being so open and loving and receiving all these people, you know, this is the problem that we're going to have, because we continue to open ourselves to people to come into this country and into our community, but then we don't take care of our own people. We have to take care of our own people first. Yes, I am on live, Kim. We have to take care of our own people first. And if we can take care of our own people first, we can make a difference. But if we can't do that, if you can't put the oxygen mask on the black community, because God knows we need an oxygen mask, okay? We need that damn oxygen mask on us first. Hey, Houston, I see you out there. Hey, Kim, thank you, sweetie. You know, we have to put the oxygen mask on us first, because if you don't put the mask on yourself, how can you help somebody else? You can't. We're looking out for our economic benefits, absolutely. And but I don't think that we're talking about capitalism all the time. We're talking about government-imposed systems and products and things that are out there that are being displaced and promoted by black leadership. And those black leaders are the same ones that are failing our communities nationwide, from Chicago to Detroit to California to Houston and Texas. those leaders don't really give a darn about us. We don't talk about the economic infrastructure. I think it's going to be interesting meeting with Phil and some of the Pan-Africans, because I want to understand how you guys have all these utilities with the diamonds and the golds and the mines that they have there, but yet on the other hand, they're failing in their own country when they can just dig in the ground. They've got utilities that they can take advantage of. For us here, we don't have that infrastructure. And I don't understand why they continue to let China and all these other countries to come here and do what they want to their country, come to them and do what they do. But for us here in America, we need to put better leaders in place, better legislators in place. We need to wake up and have more common sense to our pains and our plight, because those people think solidarity. They think singular. They don't think assimilate. They don't assimilate with us. They come here, they don't associate with us, but they'll suck us dry. They'll move into your community, and they'll use us as commodity.
Flight number 1 work service to
Hold on a
Honolulu.
second.
Paging for the last and final passengers. Pastor, Laimana, Morales, Hernandez, Camano, Soto, Chang, Osborne, Elder, Mo,
Elijah Cummings.
Immediately to gate number 58. Boarding doors
Elijah Cummings is a joke.
In 3 minutes.
Some of these old people just been in office too damn long. They too damn long, they too old, and they getting checks. Somebody's paying that man to talk crazy, and someone's paying that man to not support black people like Maxine Waters. So, unless you guys vote them old fools out, them old black fools, them people almost 80, 90 years old, they need to go. They need to go. It's time to go. Maxine Waters needs to go. Yes, she does, honey. Stop down. How you doing, baby? Yeah, they need to go. You say, I got no issues with Trump cutting. Okay, and I have no issues with him with the birthright rights. The birthright rights, hold on a second. That's another issue. That birthright rights, you come here, and you try to have a child, and then you say that child is a citizen, and then you riding off the backs of black people based on the 14th Amendment. Oh no, they need to get rid of that too. They need to end that. So when you come here and you are not a legal citizen, your ass needs to go. So we need to have that clarified. And so that birthright that Mr. Trump is trying to push through, we want that put through as well. Exactly. The 14th Amendment has needs. I don't think people understand how the 14th Amendment commissioned, because we weren't looked up as humane. That's why they said citizen, because we were used as commodity. We were shackles, slaves. We were trades and goods. We were utilities for them. So they had to humanize us, and that's why it said citizenship, because it meant the black people who were not humanized. And because there was no clarity in that, that's the problem. See who else? There's another reference.
We're boarding all passengers traveling to Provo, Utah.
Oh no, I don't. They call everybody else calls them black leaders. I call them a hot mess. Thank you, Kevin, for your support for the president. It really means a lot. Stump Down says, I can't stop in his.
How many?
Absolutely Stump Down. It doesn't make any of that sense.
Flight number 1.
As you can see, I'm at LAX. I am headed for Houston, Texas. I'm flying on Spirit. Honey, Spirit don't give you no water. When you get on Spirit, Spirit don't give you no water. You gotta pay for everything. So that's the issue right there. So anyway, back to the 14th Amendment. So that has been twisted, and it has been altered, and it really is not making us better as a people to continue to allow that to be shifted. And I think this administration is going to need help with that, and it's going to come from us. It's going to come from black people to say, yes, you're absolutely right, and it was written for us. It was not written for anyone else. You're talking about something that happened in 1865 or 64. Oh, come on. People don't even understand history nor the years of those histories. So we need to clarify it. I'm trying to bring more. I hope people will bring more attention to the illegal immigrants that have infiltrated in the black communities, the MS-13s that are in the black communities. It's been devastating. It really has been. The hepatitis A is growing. Hepatitis A is not gone anywhere. They're lying in the media. We also see the bleaching of the streets in San Diego. I've filmed that issue going on. But again, talking about the reconstruction of this country is because I call it the invasion of the body snatchers. we are being snatched out, and a culture of people being put in that think in solitude and think singularity and don't think about assimilating. They do not want to assimilate, and they don't want to be your friend. So if you realize that there's no assimilation within that baseline, then you really need to look at your own baseline and start coming up with some agendas and facts. And that's why I support Phil from the Advice Show, and shout out to T West and Willie Larson and many of you guys who are out there, and you know, just even Search for Yuri. I really appreciate Dinas and his efforts to enlighten a lot of us about Africa and what's going on out there as well. It brings the difference. And Kiki Green, I love my Kiki Green. She makes a difference as well. Look, there's a lot of us. I can go on, and I'm missing other people. But the point of the matter is that our voices need to continue to be heard. We need to continue to have conversations. If we agree or disagree on how this administration is being ran, I think our key thing is that we need to wake up to the fact that they do not incorporate us in their protege. We're not on the agenda. We're not on the agenda. And unless we decide to wake up and say we're not on the agenda, this inclusiveness, loving everybody, that ain't no answer. It ain't no answer. I'm telling you, ain't no answer. So that's why I appreciate Phil and a lot of things that he says I agree with. But if we have to tell them what we want, we can't take what's given to us. But unless we tell them what we want, we will not get anything out of this. And we will go another 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 years, and we'll say, what do we get out of it? We got what he gave everyone as a congruent gathering, meaning that whatever the best of America got. But we as a solitary people, we are not going to be able to press those issues and get what we want unless we ask. And those who have the accessibility to this administration to do that can get that for us. Emmanuel said the black community, i.e. African Americans, are always being used and pushed agenda to benefits for our community. Well, I agree with that, but I think the key thing is that we don't stand united, and that we don't stand focused on the lack of assimilation. We shouldn't allow ourselves to assimilate with this inclusiveness. That should not even come out of your vernacular, out of your mouth. Let's all be included. Let's all love each other. Forget that bull crap. You need to focus on the agenda of our community, the DOS community, the descendants of slaves. We're coming upon 400 years of being in this country, 400 years. The War Dutchman brought 20 Africans from Dutch, and they brought them here as commodity into America in 1619. I think that's the issue that's going to be really brought up next year. What else is out there? I can brown you to you. Oh, that's some nonsense. Ain't that some nonsense, Emmanuel? Come on now. Come on now. You know that's some nonsense. Because they don't say that. We're the ones that always have to say that. We're the ones talking about black and brown. Forget that black and brown. Forget that. Forget that. I'm sorry. You know, again, if you can think of it as a sole proprietor, if we as the people can think sole proprietor and say, these are our issues, these are our economic issues, these are ways that we believe that capitalism can flow in our communities. We talk more about entrepreneurship, LLCs, S corporations. Those are the things that we need to talk about in our community. But to continue to talk about expanding governmental programs, you know, including everyone, looking for help, looking for a handout. Those help and handouts ain't working. The mental facilities are real, and they need to be in place for our people, and we need to discuss that. We need to have money and legislations that are aside for us. Everybody else has. I've talked about that. I've talked about the Native Americans, how they have a tribal deal with Trump. I talked about how the Latinos got $125 billion from Wells Fargo. Look that up. And there's monies allocated to them to help them out. The Jewish people were able to get the situation taken care of. And in Israel with Jerusalem, they got a deal because that equated to money. But unless we ask, they're not going to cater to us. See how they speak in Spanish? They don't care about English. Anyway, that's part of living in California. Trump keeps the most of his campaign promises. He tries. Everyone who supports Trump, he's made an effort to he's giving Jews. Yes, I just said that. Absolutely. I think, but the problem is him not just keeping his promise. One of the promises he did say was the New Deal, and we didn't get that. You know, you had the issue with the Omarosa, you had the issue with the now where is the black leadership going? Where are the conversations going? The black churches continue to talk about privatized prisons, which is talking about that's addressing black communities. It's not. It's not an economic issue that clarifies and qualifies who we are as people. So we need an economic platform, and we need to bring that up on this administration, but that's going to start with us, because it really starts with money. I mean, you can talk about everything else, but everybody black ain't in jail. Like people, what else you said? Black people won't get enough. No, it's true. This is true. But even the ones that sit at the table, I always question them, and I know some of those who have sat at the table. And I always ask them from an economic standpoint, what did that do for you? Just get the chicken dinner and a photo op. All those black people that got up there with them Trump hats, what did that do for them? A chicken dinner and a photo op. You know, it's great, but it doesn't move us forward. We need to be a culture of people that are moving forward and not push back. You said black are the Indians, that's why they get the money. Well, you know, we don't get any of that money. And we're not considered that. As a matter of fact, that's another culture of people that block us in some sense too, because there are blacks who do have Indian in them, and they're not accepting them as far as even when the people prove through DNA the tribes, or prove through genealogy the tribes of who they are. That's a whole nother bag of issues in this country. Sorry about that. My plug is coming out. So I agree with you on that. Black people are stuck in what? Hold on a second. And the benefits. Oh, what benefits are we getting? Somebody tell me. What benefits do you see for us right now? Other than we get the repercussions of the out, you know, like, you know, I know the economy is doing better, and I know there's tax breaks doing better under this administration. But on the other hand, there's a lot of failure that's still going on, and there's nothing sole proprietorship for African Americans under this administration. Look, I'm a surrogate, and I'm already telling you that, and I've addressed that numerous times to the administration. I've been up there regarding policies, but there's just so much blockage. There's Republicans blockage. There's these old ways, these old black people up in there blocking. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. I had a flashback just now. I'm dating myself to like that Maxwell Smart, where those doors closed, I keep asking God, when are the doors going to open? When are they going to sit down and really talk to the urban leaders? Look, I think, honestly, I've said this on my Facebook page, that if the GOP, the Republican National Committee, really want to reach to black people, not just the Trumpicans, but to black people, that they need to have each chairman for each state have a committee of urban engagement in the urban communities. So if that message could get to Ronnie, if you're listening to the YouTube video, it'd be nice that you create committees for urban communities with the Republican Party, so that black people can have an understanding, you know, what you guys gonna do for us? Because, you know, that's what most people want to know. What is the advantage of being a Republican other than not being a Democrat? You know, are you jumping on one train to another? What does that really mean? You know, walking away, taking a pill, what does all that mean? Is it just about a chicken dinner and a photo op? Sorry about that. I'm at LAX right now, and I'm getting ready to head to Texas. So I said there. Connor says, I agree. Read 103 facts that blacks are Indians. You know, again, I understand all that, but I think that you have to pick your battles, and you have priorities and minority issues, and my priority issue is just to have a clarity of understanding urban engagement. And I know that is an issue, and if it's a passion for you, I encourage you to go down that road and address those issues with the blacks and the Indians. I am focusing right now on if this administration is going to move forward and have a black agenda, and if he is, there's many black leaders who have access to the presidency who need to bring up that. But we as a people, we need to not take what they give us. We need to tell them what we want. We need to tell them our issues, and we need to tell them that we are here to be engaged with. And by doing that, I think that's where the big difference will happen. And I thank you guys so much for your support and for your love and your donations. As you know, Urban Game Changers is where we go into urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable. If you see this symbol, this is the Urban Game Changers symbol where we're out there. We're talking to the people on the street. We have nationwide representatives that are communicating with people on the ground. It's one thing to be a pundit and a commentator online. That's all great. It's one thing to do YouTube videos, but to really have yourself out on the streets and talking to the people to find out the pains and the plights of the community, well, that starts with me and you. It doesn't start. Do you have a chapter in Florida? Yes, we do. Willie Larson. If you go to Urban Game Changers Florida on Facebook, or if you go to urbangamechangers.com.
Gary Darwin, Stephen Klotz, Brittany Christensen, and Max Salute.
The sun is coming up. Trying to get a better shot.
51 doors are closing.
So anyway, if you go to Urban Game Changers Florida on Facebook, or if you go to urbangamechangers.com, Willie Larson, he's in Tampa Bay, Florida. I think we might have also Glow Smith. She's out in Miami. They're on the ground. Willie's always doing videos. He's always talking about things. So yeah, definitely go to Willie Larson. Connor, and you will be happy to learn more about what he's doing. He also lets you email him, because what factors can we move forward if we don't have community engagement? You know, it's one thing to talk about it online and give likes and love. Thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. Those thumbs up make a world of difference by sharing this video and your donations. But what good is to do all that if we're not on the streets, we're not communing with the people, we're not learning the pains and the plights of our own community? What good is all that? Because we have to have a clarity and understanding of those pains to move forward. And by doing that, we can build a better community through communication and clarity. Look, I get it. It's not easy. It's not easy living in this state. It's not easy living anywhere financially. But if you realize that you can come together with your family member and put your differences aside and find a way to structure yourself financially as a team. You've got a team, stay in your house. But the problem is that we are a divided culture of people. We are easily divided, we're easy conquer, and we've been easy to conquer. So we have to reverse those energies, we have to reverse those ideologies, and we have to sit down with family members and say, this is our issues in this house. And we need to make some shifts and some changes, because, honey, y'all need to learn to be recession-proof, because who knows what's going to happen. I don't care who's in office. This economy still can infect you. There's too many people flooding here illegally and legally, and they have disrupted our infrastructure of how this country has been ran. Normally, even in the real estate industry, we have people who would come here and we would go by the appraised value, so there would be a cap of how much could be spent. But there's so many people coming here with all cash, it disrupts the young families from even having a shot, because they're competing with all these all cash people. Little things like that, you'd be surprised, really can really disrupt our structure in our country. And because of that, we are having a dominancy of cultures who are able to profit and prosper, because they have restitutions and wealth to cap into, where the rest of us who have lived here all our lives don't have the same privilege and power. That is to open businesses to get communities up and running. If it's not America's welcome, but the time for us to take America back. Well, it is time for us to take America back, but we can't do that unless we think there's something to take back. We can't do that if we have chain migration and illegal immigration, where people bring their cousin and their uncle and all their family members here, and they're taking advantage. We need to cut back on the visas, and we need to stop the immigration and the illegal immigration. These people don't want to assimilate. They don't want to speak English. They don't want to be part of the process of America, but they want to take advantage of the benefits of America. And when they come from countries that don't allow them to do the same things here, as far as capitalism and free enterprise and franchising, that we take advantage of here. But look, if we think of all that, at least we're awake. But if we're going to continue to sleep at the wheel and pass the blame game and do this inclusive game, we will never move forward as a plight of people. We'll continue to be set back to be ostracized, to be used, for our communities to be taken over. And like I told you, they're continuing to plant their trees through their chain migrations. They got their own cultures, being able to do things like I told you. The India people have the hotels. The Vietnamese people are doing nails. Again, they come here and then they bring their cousins, and their cousins will continue to come, and it don't get better. It's all we are is consumers. That's all I'm saying. It's one thing to consume, but you also want to be a contributor, and you want to be one that's profitizing. You want to be a person of profit. But if you're just consuming and consuming in anything in life, no matter what culture you are, that's not bettering your life. You should be in your community out there, not just only as a consumer, but you should also be a contributor. And by being a contributor and growing is where you have a clarification of understanding. Miami, the black community in Miami is non-existent anymore. Miami due to them. Oh, absolutely. Miami is just, I think Brazilian and a couple other people have just taken that over. Economics, like I told you though, but if you've got all the immigration and chain migration, these people come here, they've got an advantage. They take advantage of the visa programs. Many people are here on expired visas and green cards, and I think they should cut all that. I don't think they should be here anymore. They have no respect for the black community. They think they're better than everybody. They don't have respect for American people, but they disenfranchise us as the people. And that's something that we definitely need to start talking and having conversations about. Miami's in big trouble right now because basically Miami's about money. It's about money, and no matter what culture you're from, if you got the money, you can suppress any culture of people and dominate through economics. And that's the golden rule of law. You know, it all comes down to numbers and money. It doesn't matter what ethnic background you come from, it comes down to numbers and money. But at least what you're seeing and what you should learn from these people is that they know how to work as a sole proprietor. They know how to work as individuals that focus only on their own culture, because they're not about inclusiveness. They do not come here to include themselves with you. They do not like you. They're not your friend. They act like they're your friend, but they don't want to really associate you. They stay within their own culture. Think that that's okay, and you want to continue to stay inclusive and loving and progressive and all those crazy ass notions and ideologies, you ain't gonna move nowhere either, because you need to understand it's an economic war, it's a displacement war, and it's a cultural war that is out there. And unless we wake up to that, we will not move forward. Thank you guys so much for the thumbs up and the love. And yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. Thank you so much. Because by understanding that, at least you can understand you can be utilized as a vessel for God to move forward. Why won't the Black Caucus stand up? Well, the Black Caucus right now is standing for illegal immigrants. Black Caucus is bought out. All those people get checked. Maxine Waters, Karen Bass, Cory Booker, they all get checks. They all are getting underground checks. They don't care nothing about no black people. Black Caucus has never been about Black Caucus. You know, if you black people, it's an illusion. If you look at their site, they don't even really address any of our issues. They address their issues, and they're about inclusiveness and solidarity with all these other folks. So I don't support them. I'm a conservative. I don't support them, and I don't think they're helping us at all. So I wouldn't give them money. I wouldn't get involved. But what I do want to say to you is that if you understand the power of us uniting and us communicating and us addressing this administration and asking for what we need to do to move us forward. Because if we don't, we'll continue to see a division and a setback. And of course, like I said, an elimination and an annihilation of a termination of people because they need votes. Well, yeah, they need their votes. I told you that what we have is an illegal immigration issue. We have an issue of $125 million that are given to the Hispanic community through Wells Fargo, and that they're going to be allocated $125 billion that was allocated through Wells Fargo. Look that up. They gave them a whole bunch of money. And with the Chinese community, yeah, they come here with the visas, and they're able to come here through chain migrations And they come in with a lot of cash. They do a lot of cash over here. And again, they're not trying to embed our communities. They're using us as siphons to basically tell you that you need to be more a consumer. And then when they set up their shops, you're consuming their goods. You're buying from their stores. You're buying from their foods and their shops. You're a consumer, and you're also not respected in your community, and that's an issue that you should have. So if anything, I will continue, guys, to tell you to go to urbangamechangers.com and make your donations there. Go to Urban Game Changers and learn about what's going on, and go to congress.gov. Go to congress.gov to learn about legislation and bills that are on the table right now, because there's a lot of bills that are on the table that are making a difference. And if you don't know how to go to congress.gov, you won't learn about those things, and you won't know the difference that they're bringing to the community. So go to congress.gov as well. Yeah, $125 billion, not million, $1 billion given to the Hispanic community that really don't add values to our country, which is a hot mess, which is truly a hot mess. And I just want to bring that up to you. Let's see, who else? Keep up the good work in trying to... I appreciate that. I just want to say this. I'm not one to discredit people, but I just want to say, I think it's sad that we continue to be so inclusive and loving to all these other people, but yet we can't love each other. We should be focusing on loving black people first. And if we can love each other, we can recognize that we are on the verge of elimination and annihilation. We have to understand that we have allowed these people to come into our communities and really cause a breakdown of our own infrastructure in our own communities, especially with only 6% blacks left in California. The Reconstruction of America starts with allowing other cultures to come into our community and use us as consumers, but also those trees I told you, where you have cultures where the Vietnamese people do nails. Hold on a second.
Is currently very nose heavy, so we are recommending.
I'm at LAX right now. I'm getting ready to leave for Texas to be on the advice show with Phil. I gotta plug my phone in.
We will be keeping for some of you the appropriate receipts to the aft compartment. So to be $85 this aircraft out. Again, this aircraft is nose heavy, so we will need to allocate some weight into the rear of the aircraft.
Oh, that's a little bit better. I know it's darker, but I apologize. So anyway, we're on our way to Phil from the advice show. And we are going to be basically talking to some of the Pan-Africans about what's going on in Africa as far as their utilities and how they're moving forward, and how they said they want to work with some of the black people who have businesses here. But so that's where we're heading to. Okay, Kim says there are children who are even in the best colleges, the black caucuses, about the welfare and the ill. Yeah, they are. They're about the welfare. But we're talking about we're talking about conservatives and solutions, right? So if you're not a college person, you can always go and do a trade. You can always get a certification. There's a lot of things that you can do to add value to your life and get into making 6 digits without putting all those years into college if you don't have the money for it. And then you can work for a company that will later on move you forward. See, that's someone that can't raise their children well. They got to sit up there and let them scream in the location. I have 3 sons. My children never did that. I just never let my children do all that. So, I think that you can do better. They're gone now. Most people do not work from standard employee, and they say, hold on. It's the difference of earning incomes and tax and cash. Yeah, that's true. But there's also a lot of people who are looking for other options of income because they're looking for more than one cash flow. And I've talked about that before. You need to have a thing of understanding cash flow. Kiyosaki's book that talks about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a good book to get. Gina Lofton, look her up. It's a free book on Amazon, The Rat Race, where she talks about how we're on a rat race. We're like in a treadmill. We're paying our bills. We're going to school. We're working. And we continue to do that rat race. You've got to get out of the rat race, and you've got to learn about cash flow. You've got to find other sources of revenue, and you've got to think about finding people with the right kindreds of spirits that add value in your life. Many of us associate with people that are devalued, who got issues. Get them issue people out of your life. You don't need them. Your boy's a good man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Kim. Let's see. Active Granny says a lot of money in the trades. It's good too. It's true. The trade industry, if you understand how trades work, some people do, some people don't. There's enough YouTube videos telling you about trade and real estate, and there's a lot of ways to make that money, especially without brick and mortar. Many of us can do stuff online. You can talk about drop ship. There's a lot of ways of making money that we're not learning. And exactly, Connor says, you need to trade through technology. Technology is the key thing. Or a plumber, electricity, a painter. Those people make good incomes, make excellent incomes. And those are other ways of ciphering incomes. That could be an extra side job for yourself. That's important too, that you realize that could be an extra side job for economic opportunities for you. But unless you break up and realize whatever you're doing may not be enough, because who knows where this economy is going. So if it's not enough, then you need to sit back with your tribe, which is the people in your household, and determine maybe some things you guys need to come together. Some of you guys need to move out of your single lifestyle and maybe go back home and humble yourself and put your dollars together and put your spaces together and put your minds together and make it happen. The trucking industry, absolutely excellent income. Internet income, that's absolutely, we talked about that with Instagram and the drop shipping and things of those nature. They make a world of difference, creating websites and finding out how you can even work through Amazon or Alibaba. There's all kinds of ways to get that cash flow flowing through. But look, if you don't realize that in your team, which is your tribe at home, and you're so stuck on all this other stuff and this inclusiveness and we love everybody bullshit, excuse me, it's not going to move us forward. It's just not. We have to think as a sole proprietor and as a culture of people. We have been here 400 years in this country. All these other people who have come here, they've not been in this country 400 years. The DOS, the descendants of slaves, as of 1619, next year will mark 400 years. The War Dutchman brought 20 people into Virginia as commodity. 20 people, and those 20 people have flourished, and this is how we're here today. Many people who can trace their ancestries back through genealogy are able to do that through the DOS, are able to do that through the DOS. And if you are a child of the DOS, I will encourage you to do your genealogy. Go through Ancestry.com or go through 21andMe or go through the Daughters of the Revolution or go through the Mormon Church. Those people have those ancestry records that you can probably do your homework on, and by doing your homework, you're able to identify what and who and where you add value in your life, because it's your puzzle. My son asked me, so well, why would you do that? I said, because it's the puzzle. It's your puzzle of knowing where you come from. I'm able to trace back to 1854, so I can go back before the emancipation. My family is from the South. If you do your genealogy, if you do your DNA, then you're able to determine how much African you have in you. I have European in me. I have Asian in me, which is kind of interesting when I found out I had Asian in me. But it kind of sets a clarity to the puzzle of your DNA, your lineage, as well as your titles of your anatomy. And so by doing that, it to me may bring a little balance and a new understanding of you as a person, not anybody else, but you as a person. So Fabio says, correct, you are correct. Thank you so much. They have to sell and drive trucks. This is true too. The food trucks, you can get your food truck and get it wrapped. And that's another way to make money. I had a friend and I, we were looking into that, and at that time it was about $70,000 to get the truck, to store the truck, to clean the truck. Yeah, there's a lot of money that you can do in trucking as well. We need to discuss that. And then I also think you can do family ventures. Some people say you can't work with family, and some people can work with family. So you just got to determine what kind of family you have. And even if it's not blood family, it might be a good friend that's like family, that you can sit your heads with. You put your heads with people that can add value into your life. You put your thoughts and your ideologies and your viewpoint with people who have kindred spirits. Because if you can be with people who have kindred spirits, then it makes it a little bit more easier in your life. But when you find out people who don't believe in you, and people who are frustrating you, and people who question you, you don't need those people. Those people don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. They just continue to bring you down and make you feel less than. You don't need to do that. But what we don't need to do is continue to put ourselves in a disposition manner that we're on right now. These roads that we're on just being a consumer and not trying to look at our communities and realize that we're under attack. And just being a consumer, not realizing that these people have come in and they've planted themselves in our community, and they continue to bring their family members over here. And when they bring their family members over here, they plant more of their trees. So next thing you look up, the one guy who's got the store, his cousin's coming, and they got another store, and they got another store. Same thing with the Asian community, with the Koreans, where they came over and they took over the hair industry, and they bring beauty supplies in, and then they clamp them right next to our beauty supply store. And what do we have? We have ourselves disabled. And now, as you saw on film, the advice show what happened with that Asian man who hit that black lady, you know, and then we didn't stand up for that. I mean, because where's the black men? They're in jail. Because why? The system is systemized to stalk us. I mean, it's just one thing after another. But I think the good part is that we're communing and we have a conversation about that. So the next step would have to be legislation and policies. We have to change the policies. We need to stop immigration and chain migration until we can clarify some of the rules and regulations. We need to look at people who have expired visas and green cards. Those people should be evicted out of this country. They don't need to be here because they don't respect the laws and they don't respect the community. They don't respect us as a community, but yet they want us to use as consumers. So unless we start identifying that and be bold enough to confront it and not be afraid, I don't know what to tell you. Then we're failing. We're just going along with the program, and that's not going to help us move forward. Not at all. Well, AI is already here, so it is what it is. AI is in so many different forms, from the lower end of AI when we're talking about Alexa and all these other ones out there, and Sirius and Watson with IBM. For those who may not know, that's probably one of the other higher end AIs out there. But there's different types of AI out there. They have self-driving cars. Yes, they do. They do. We know technology is a major factor, and that's replacing people as well. Like all these people talking about they want $15 an hour for working at a hamburger stand. They're ridiculous too, because they're not going to get that. That's why they're bringing all these computers in. Look, capitalist is capitalist, and major capitalists will not compromise their bottom line for your best interest. They may seem like they care, but they don't. They're going to still make their money. If that means that they're going to reduce the size of the box and charge you more, they'll do that. If that means that the restaurants are going to serve the same salad, raise the price, and reduce the product, they will. Houston's does that. They give you a smaller salad, and then they charge you more. So, yeah. So it's a hot mess. Unless you realize that, then you're sleeping at the wheel. You're sleeping at the wheel. But to think that you're going to move forward when they bring in technology to replace humans, that's what everybody's basically saying through this AI, is they're bringing in technologies to replace humans. That means everyone is general. So there is the wealthy, and then there's the poor, but the middle class, the working class is being suppressed. We're being suppressed through technology, we're being suppressed through this government, and we're being suppressed through the systematics that are in place that are not working in our best interest, and they're failing us. So in order for us to move forward, you have to be conscious of this country and conscious of the invasion of people who don't value. Again, I think that we have to look into the birthrights of what President Trump is talking about, because I think people don't understand that the 14th Amendment was put in place because of black people, and that all these people who have come to this country have basically came on the backs of black people, and they don't even understand the Constitution. They don't read the Constitution. They don't understand the addendum of the 14th, the 15th, and the 13th Amendment. And if they understood that they're doing that part of history and how it was situated, again, we were not considered as citizens. We were considered as commodity. We were considered as cattle, slaves. They abused us, they raped us, and they put us on trading trades and training blocks, and then we're still kind of partly used like that today, and that's the sad part. That's the sad part. Those kids in the ground are doing the most. Yes, they are doing the most. So can you put that on the top, sir? Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Those kids are like, oh yeah, they gone now. Thank you, Jesus. Child, I had some Asian people sitting across from me. I know they were watching me talk. I just kept going. I didn't give a crap. So I should have switched the camera, then y'all would have been able to see. I got Mexicans by me, Indians by me, and then I had the she gone. The Muslim lady over there praying to Allah. I got to pray. So, well, then you go ahead and pray. I'm gonna pray to Jesus. So she was up there bowing on the ground, and I was up there bowing to Jesus. Somebody's gonna win. And guess who? I'm gonna continue saying the name of Jesus. I plead the blood. I plead the blood. I plead the blood. So we gotta keep it 100. Can't let me feel. Hold on a second. Girl, child, we flying on Spirit. Spirit don't even give you free water, okay? That's why they trying to upsell you the whole time. They talk to me most of the time. I ain't never heard somebody on the mic so much, but when you're over here by Spirit, yeah, that's what Spirit is doing. They upselling. We're more worthy. The lands, the roads, absolutely, absolutely. But I think the problem is if you do not value what you bring to the table, what you own at the table, somebody else is going to take it. Someone else will take it. If you don't value what is on the table and what's brought to the table, somebody else will take it. And that's the problem that we're having. Many people have taken the 14th Amendment. Many people have taken the civil rights, and cultures, lifestyles have taken the civil rights. And we sit back and we just kind of like, oh yeah, let's include them. And then we are set back and we are being pushed back, and that's an issue. And unless we deal with that, we will not move forward as people. We're going to move forward as people. We are all worthy more than anything. Our lands, railroads, all imports. Well, think about it. Are we a culture people that talk about import-export? We don't talk about import-export. We don't talk about distribution of wealth. We don't talk about having access to other countries so that we can sell goods without going through a wholesaler or a middleman. We always just go right to the middleman, the wholesaler or the mediator. But to have access to the distributor, that's a whole other story. And I think that comes from getting on a plane, picking up a phone, doing your research, doing your search online, for whatever career and aspirations that you might have, and that you do your due diligence and you find out who those import-export people are for whatever arena that you want to go into, so that you can get direct access to those goods in a cheaper manner. And if you can get direct access to those goods in a cheaper manner, it'll work in your best interest, because that's another form of wealth, right? It's another form of cash flow that could be forming in. I thank you for watching, and I want to encourage you guys to, thank you so much for your love. I appreciate it. I appreciate your loves and your thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for having discussions with me. But if we're going to talk about the Reconstruction of America, that is definitely in place and moving forward, because now these people through the chain migration have created what? Old money. And that old money is having the next children generation, and they're running for office, and then they're policy makers, and now they're reconstructing the infrastructure of our Constitution and of our laws, because now their children are the ones running this country, and that's a problem. That's a problem, because you got people like Kevin DeLeon, whose parents came here illegally, and now he is trying to disrupt the infrastructure of our country, and he's running for office. Thank God he lost against Feinstein for the Senate seat, but unless GOP locally really get their act together, we're in trouble. We are in big trouble. But again, like I said, they're what I call old money, old wealth. And by coming here creating trees and then creating old money and taking advantage of capitalism and franchise and sole proprietorships. They know how to work it. We're black people. We ain't working that. We ain't working that. We sitting back and we too busy talking about Ray Ray and Popo, okay? And all this bullshit with Cardi B and all that kind of stuff. They ain't moving us forward. All the gossip madness. I mean, we all listen to it once in a while, but really? Hold on a second. I mean, really, we listen to the madness, but really, does that add value to our life? Most likely not. It doesn't do that. For those who listen to history, okay, your history could repeat itself. But for those who make an action to change their lifestyle, they won't be repeating themselves. There's always going to be the percentage of people that wake up, and there'll be a percentage of people that won't wake up. So it will repeat itself, but maybe not for all of us. Just for those who are sleeping at the wheel and not moving forward. But for those of us who are game changers, who are changing the game, make sure you go to urbangamechangers.com. Make sure you go to the website. Fighting with the people speaking. I'm going to Texas for those who might just chimed in. I'm going to be with Phil from the Advice Show with Dr. Mumbai. I'm having dinner with them tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to be discussing the Pan-African. So I'll probably come back on live then. But anyway, go to urbangamechangers.com. Make sure you make your donations. Make sure you have a discussion. Find out who your community leaders are. Find out what's going on in your state, and find out how it's important for you to have clarification on what's in the ground, because there's so many people that are commentators and pundits and wearing the hats and eating the chicken dinners and taking the photo ops. But you know, it takes kahunas to be in public speaking on these matters. It takes a lot of balls and strength to be out on the street identifying the issue with the vendors and the homelessness and the mental illness in our community is a very major issue, and that we need to discuss this. And by discussing this, we can change history, and we can stop the wrongs and make them right. We can restructure the failures that are going on and bring truth and knowledge to the reality that needs to be put in place. You know, the selfishness that we're not doing is the problem, because we're all about inclusiveness. So I wouldn't say we're selfish. I think that we've accepted and we've been so inclusive, and we've letting people ride on the 14th Amendment and on the civil rights. It's too much, this inclusiveness. There needs to be a clarification of who we are, because they have clarification. They only help their own people. They ain't thinking about helping no black people. They ain't thinking about helping nobody. Everybody's thinking about helping themselves in this country. And they use it on the backs of your people. And they use it on the backs of your rights. So unless you decide to give away, it's like letting people come in your house and just raid you and just go through your wallets and go through your kitchen and take all your food. Unless we're going to continue to let this continue on, we're not going to move forward as a people. But I think this is why Phil and I have made a decision that next year and this year we're making a goal to start having more conversations and communication. Thank you, Anthony. You're so pretty. Greetings. Good morning, Pam. Oh, there's Pam. Pam jamming. Hey, girl. Hey, good. What you doing, good? What you doing, good? Thank you for coming in. Ever says that's wrong. It is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong that we continue to be set back. It's wrong how we continue to sleep at the wheel. It's wrong how we continue to not communicate and attack each other and focus on celebrity bullshit. And how celebrities are supported. Help the babies, help the babies. You know, tell them people to close their legs. They'll say, close your legs, close your legs. That's what my old answer is. And then you would have all them damn babies. Close your legs. You're at work. Well, good for you. Go, girl. She said, that's right. Close your legs. I'm going to keep it real with you. It don't make no sense. The irresponsibility of being one to have children in this country is not upon the government. It's upon you. And for you to have these children and then expect somebody else to take care of them, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. To come here and think someone's going to take care of your kids when you open your legs, you're an idiot. I can say that because I have 3 sons, and I learned to be responsible because I learned to say, hey, I need to close my legs. So anyway, I thank you guys so much. I appreciate you watching me. I'm getting ready to get on this plane, but make sure you follow me. I will be in Texas, and I will go back live again. Continue to pray in the name of Jesus for God's blessing and his financial needs to come through for Urban Game Changers. Make sure you guys make a donation because it makes a world of difference. And look, if anything in life, hold your head up. Be proud, be strong. Use wisdom in everything that you do and think outside the box. Don't minimize your thoughts. Let God use you as that vessel. And he can't use that unless you humble yourself and you put the mask on yourself first. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first so you can change the future of your family and your own tribe. And you know what? Make up the difference. If you're fighting with a family member, it's not worth it. Because that family member in the end might be the person that you can only go to. So put aside your differences and say, you know what? I talked to Shirley and I listened to her video this morning and I just want to have a conversation with you. I just want to have a conversation with you. And by having that conversation, doggone it, you'd be surprised. It might be just something stupid that y'all could have got resolved, but you didn't communicate, and now you're in a disarray with one another. So I want to encourage you guys not to be in disarray, but to be hopeful and to be strong and factual. And know your worth, know your numbers, and get your life together. God bless you. Let's keep in touch and stay strong, okay? Thank you so much, Pam, for putting up there. Go to urbangamechangers.com. Sign up today. urbangamechanger.com. Okay, make sure you guys sign up, make a donation, and get involved. Thank you so much, and God bless.